Hey guys, more NBA action in the books. Boston beat Orlando in Game 5, and I obviously wasn't able to follow any of this game really, but I, went back, checked it out a little bit, and, I was looking at the score every now and then, but really, I really couldn't follow it, but from what I could tell, I don't know, I'm really kind of disgusted with Stan Van Gundy right now. I don't get it. You have your premier post player going up against some very weak post defenders on Boston because they don't have KG and Poe, and he only takes 10 shots. I mean, Howard, you look at the stats, he only has 12 points, but that's only because he had 10 shots. He wasn't shooting a terrible percentage. He wasn't having an off night. He wasn't doing anything wrong. I mean, he didn't have a great game or anything. He pulled down 17 rebounds. I don't think he was really a force to be reckoned with down low, but he was doing what you need from him, and they just weren't getting him the ball. They would rather throw up three after three, jumper after jumper, and that's how they blew this game. They had a 16-point lead or 14-point lead in the fourth and blew it, and that really got me frustrated because they had this game. They were up 14 with like 8 minutes left. All they had to do was protect it, hit a couple shots, and they were up by like 12 or 14. Boston called a timeout, and Orlando just started chucking up bricks while Boston started hitting everything. What else can you say? Again, Howard did what you would expect from him. I mean, he's not getting shots, so he's not going to score, but he pulled down rebounds and all that. I want to give some credit to Turkoglu. He did have 18 points, 7 assists, so he was solid. But he needs to be the guy who drives to the hoop at the end of the game. When the Magic absolutely need a bucket, it has to be Turkoglu driving to the hoop to create that bucket. It has to be. He's the guy on this team who can do that because Jameer Nelson is not healthy, so he's not really that guy. Alston isn't really that kind of a point guard. J.J. Redick can't really run the point like that. Courtney Lee doesn't play that much because of his injury. It's got to be him. So, he played well today. I'm not going to say he was at fault for this, but he needs to be a man and drive to the hoop at the end of the game. Rashard Lewis was great. He was hitting his shots early. He cooled off a little later, but he played fine. And, the Magic weren't really hitting their threes in general, and that includes him, but I'm not going to call him out specifically for that because he did his job. And that's another thing. Why is Rafer Alston shooting threes? There are like 5 players on this Magic team that are better three-point shooters than him. They have Rashard Lewis, 40% three-point shooter. Turkoglu, 40% three-point shooter when healthy, and I think he's healthy right now. J.J. Redick, we don't really know about him yet, but he's probably a 40% three-point shooter. Michael Petrus, I'd much rather have him shooting threes than Alston. And Courtney Lee, 41% three-point shooter. So, I don't know, it should not be a part of that offense. He's not a good three-point shooter. He's average at best. I understand if he does it once or twice every once in a while to keep the defenses honest, but come on. And, Redick didn't give them anything, but Redick's not that good of a player, really, so that's not surprising. And they got decent production off the bench. But T was solid. Gortat gave them a little bit. Lee didn't really play that much, so he didn't really do much. Michael Petrus dropped a couple buckets, so they got what they needed from the bench and couldn't pull it out. I mean, when you're up 14 in the fourth quarter, throw it into Dwight Howard. Who cares if they foul him? Who cares if he doesn't make his free throws? He's going to make some of them, and that's all you need. You need a couple of free throws here and there just to hold on to the lead. That's all Orlando needed, and they'd rather throw up threes, and tonight they weren't falling, and they lost. And, props to Boston. They won. I had Orlando winning this game, but I would not have been anywhere close to surprised if Boston had won, which they did. Ray Allen hit that huge three at the end. He didn't do anything good all night, but he did hit that three, which was huge. Rondo was off, but he did get some rebounds, so he impacted the game. Perkins, I guess you should credit him because he limited Dwight Howard. I mean, he didn't play great or anything, but he limited Dwight Howard. Glenn Davis, great game, 22 points, 7 rebounds. Paul Pierce approached a triple-double. He played fine. Marbury saved this game for Boston, though. He came off the bench and nailed like 4 or 5 straight shots just to keep Boston in the game when it looked like Orlando was going to just shut the door. So Marbury deserves a lot of credit here. Eddie House hit some shots. Even Scalabrine hit a couple threes that obviously had an impact in this game. And I'm pretty confident Orlando's going to win Game 6, so I think we're going to have a Game 7 in Boston, and Orlando's going to have to find a way to get that one done, because it's going to be very, very tough to win a Game 7 in Boston. Hopefully between now and then, Van Gundy remembers that the Boston front court is very thin right now, and if you throw it into Dwight Howard, you can get fouls on their big men, forcing Scalabrine and Mikey Moore into the game, which is a good thing for the Magic, because they suck. So that's what I'm hoping to see in Game 6 and 7. The more Dwight Howard, the better. See if you can get him up to 30 points. Get him his shots. If he's off, I understand not letting him shoot when he's not feeling it, but you gotta feed him when he was shooting pretty well like he was tonight. So I don't know. We'll see where this series goes. And also, Los Angeles just finished beating the crap out of Houston. They won by 40. Dominant game. I liked what I saw from them. That was exactly what I think they should be doing. They were dominating the boards because they are so much bigger than this Houston team right now. So that's what I want to see. They are playing volleyball with the black backboard right now because they are so much taller than Houston's big men, and they're out rebounding them like they should. From what I saw of the game, they were grabbing rebounds, offensive boards, pickpocketing rebounds that you would expect Houston to get, getting putbacks. Gasol 16 and 13, so he was very solid. Bynum had a solid game. Bynum had probably his best game of the postseason by far, 14 and 6. So they'll take that from him. They don't need anything huge from Bynum. They just need a little bit. Kobe was great, 26 points. Ariza helped completely shut the door. He had some big points near the end and finished with 13. The bench stepping up a little bit. Farmar with 12 points and 6 assists. Luke Walton with 4, 6, and 3. Lamar Odom playing injured, 10 and 6. I really liked what I saw from Odom. He did not look hurt. Shannon Brown, 7 points. Josh Powell, 10. It was a nice team effort. They did exactly what they needed to do. They're the bigger team now. They played like it. They dominated the boards when they needed to. I don't want to make too much of the specific stats because this game was pretty much over by the midway through the third. But these guys, they got it done. Everybody seemed to chip in a little bit, and they played well. So big ups to them. They did what they needed. I think the series is over in the 6th. For Houston, nothing much good. Aaron Brooks, he was going up against Derek Fisher again because Derek Fisher got the start, and Brooks never really got started. So that's disturbing because Brooks should be destroying Fisher. Artest was off again. Scola had the double-double, so he did what he could. Batlier wasn't hitting his shot. It was just pretty much they didn't have any big-time players here. They need somebody to explode in this series, and tonight they didn't get it. And, they did get some decent stats off the bench, but a lot of that was when the game was already over, so I'm not going to talk too much about that. But, Carl Laundrie, 9 points. Brent Berry had 8 and 4. Von Wafer had 13, so they were getting a little bit out of their bench, and Houston's bench isn't very good, so it's good to see that anyway. But that's exactly what I wanted to see from LA. Dominate the boards because you're bigger than them. Just exactly what you need, and if you can wrap this series up in 6, you will probably get to start your series with Denver pretty soon. So that's it. Tomorrow, I guess I'll take the Nuggets, taking out Denver, and Yeah, I guess the Cleveland series is over, so that's the only game tomorrow. Alright, I'm out.